Well, look what we have here. The moment we've all been waiting for. The new Hyundai Ioniq 5 all electric is finally here at Puente Hills Hyundai. And today we're going to be going over everything inside and out for the vehicle. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video, so we've already taken care of those timestamps for you. If you want to go ahead and navigate forward, you guys can definitely do that. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. We're going to be starting from the outside and then we're going to be going in. Let's get going. All right, so now we're here. We're gonna be starting on the outside like we mentioned. First thing we're gonna go over is definitely the paint. Hyundai is gonna have some new colors that you guys have definitely not seen in the past. This one in front of us is the digital teal. So you are gonna see at certain angles, you're gonna see a little bit more teal, bluish, and then at some angles, you're really gonna see that green pop, okay? And we're gonna try our best to get those angles for you so you can kind of see them on the camera, but we always encourage our customers to come in and view the vehicle itself. If you can see, you do have Hyundai's new pixel lights. These are LEDs, and this is gonna be on the SCL model, okay? That's what we're reviewing today. Also, in this section here, once you have your full headlights on, you will have an additional premium lights for you available. So you have a little bit more brightness as well. If we go a little bit underneath, the SCLs do carry the front parking sensors. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and move underneath the hood, see what's going on under there. All right, now we're underneath the hood. So like I mentioned before, this is an all electric, so there's no engine, no oil, no nothing. But you do have windshield wipers, you do have the coolant system, and you still have the actual battery for the vehicle itself in the front too. You have a little bit of storage area here. You can store some of your goodies, stuff that's not gonna be affected by the heat, of course, like I said, because this is the hood. But you do have some slots that you can actually open. Now, for the consumers yourselves, you may not need to open this. This is mainly gonna be for the servicing. But if you ever need to jump the car, you do have another slot here that'll pop out and you're able to hit the power on the actual battery to go ahead and jump your car if needed. Now we're on the driver's side of the vehicle. So one thing to point out, on the SCL model, you do have the power folding mirrors. So once you lock your car, the mirrors will go in and also the door handles. So easiest way to do it, you still have your proximity, just like most vehicles. You can press the side, windows open, handle opens, and there is kind of a grip here. So for your fingers, now you gotta do is just pull, enter the vehicle. Once you go back in, the doors will lock, go back in place. So before we head to the back, we're on the passenger rear. That's where you're gonna be able to do all your charging. So you're gonna push the grooves there. Flap's gonna open. You do have the capability for level 1, level 2, and level 3 charging, which is gonna be on the bottom. You do have more pixels that'll go in unique with the vehicle. And this is pretty much just to show you how much of a charge you do have. So once you have all 4 pixels lit up and staying one color, that means your car is gonna be fully charged. Then you do have this automatic down close button, and there we are. All right, everyone, now we're here in the rear, and I'm gonna be taking it from the top all the way down to the bottom. So you do have Hyundai's unique spoiler system. You do have some more LED lighting up top as well. You're gonna have your pixel brake lights, and that's also gonna be integrated with the rear lights. Now, you may not be able to see it on the camera, but once you see it in person, you can actually see which pixels are for the lights and which ones are just actually there just as a placement. Of course, we're gonna have our Ioniq badge here, very unique, and it's white, so it stands out. Now, this SCL model is all-wheel drive, so that's why we have our H-Track badge right there. Now, if we go underneath, hopefully you can see the camera, and then over here, you have the back parking sensors as well. Now, one little more thing to mention, this car does have the power liftgate on the SCL, so let me go ahead and open that for you really quick. And down. All right, let's move into the interior. All right, everyone, so we're still in the rear of the car, but now we're inside the trunk area. Now, this is gonna be Hyundai's largest cargo area that they produce on an electric vehicle. So you do have the availability to still recline the seats, and then we'll get into that a little bit later, but I do wanna show you the area underneath. So you do have this cargo flap here. You can store stuff underneath it. But one thing that you should know is you're able to slide this out, kind of get it at an angle and flop that open. And now you're able to grab the stuff that's either fallen in the back or that you've secured back there as well. And very easy to do. Back to normal. You do have some plugs on the side, so you do have another 12 volt on the other end of the driver's side. You do have a little cap here that we'll show you as well, but that's usually going to be just for like the service department to get into where the wiring, where the charger is. You can get a few accessories too. You have the availability to grab the cargo cover, which you can purchase, or if the car comes with it already. Yes, you do have a back cargo mat that you can get as well. It will have the netting too for the bottom surface. So pretty good trunk space here. You do have some under trunk space as well, and seats do recline, and we'll pop those open forward for you in just a bit. All right, everyone. So now we're in the back seat of the Ioniq 5, and first things we're gonna go over is these back seats do recline, and we will go ahead and then recline them forward for you in just a moment. We do have your center armrests with the cup holders, okay? Down in the middle, we're gonna have 2 USB charging ports. Then you're gonna have like a little slot to put your phone or another small object. On the sides of the door panels, you do have the ventilation back here, so you will have the air conditioning. Also, you do have on the door panels a very nice pixel groove imprinted on the actual door panel. And then you're gonna have a very nice aesthetic fabric here that Hyundai's been using. So definitely a very nice view, even from the back. Everything looks beautifully calming as well. All right, everyone, so as you just saw, I did recline the seats all the way back. So now what I'm gonna do is just recline them forward. So you're gonna go, and there you are. You're just gonna wait for a small click to happen, and then the seats are gonna be set. You can't move them up, no more down, and you're gonna have a lot more cargo space available. All right, everyone, so now we're in the front of the Ioniq 5, and we're gonna be starting off with the driver's side, of course. So now you do have Hyundai's kind of like cup link door handles that you can see. Now you can actually use those to close the door, or they actually have an insert on the inside too, where you can grab it and close the door shut. So you do have your traditional mirrors. You're gonna have your power folding mirrors as well up top. You're gonna have your lock and unlock. You're gonna have your 2 automatic power windows, and that's going to be for the front 2 for passenger and driver. You're going to have the back 2 windows, and then now you're going to have Hyundai's child lock and window lock on the bottom section as well. So on the SEL model, you do have the power seating. Okay, so that's going to be Hyundai's newer buttons too, newer kind of look to the power seating. So yes, you do have your lumbar, you have your recline, you have your going forward, you have your raising of the seat. So just your traditional power seating for the driver's side. So if you are a Hyundai owner, or if this is your first time, things might look very similar, or they might look very different out of place. But you do have on your driver's side to the left, you do have your illumination button. You still have your traction control. You have your power liftgate button. The auto hold has changed positions over to this side. And you also have your emergency parking brake. Now, moving over to the steering wheel, you still have your lights on the left-hand side with the auto as well function. Now, to the right side, you do still have your wiper placements for that, and no back wiper is available on the Ioniq 5, so I just want to make that clear. So it's just going to be for the front. Now, your shifter, still staying on the right side of the steering wheel, but you're gonna have the placement kind of like if you were driving one of those older SUVs. So you do have a twist feature available to put it in drive, reverse, and neutral. And then you do have your new park button on the outside, and you're gonna be able to push that in to actually put the car in park. Now to the physical steering wheel itself, you do have this kind of D-cut style that Hyundai's has been using in the past. It's a little bit more circular to it. I really like the feel of it though. You do have your drive mode button attached to the middle part of the steering wheel towards the left. So that's just a button you could push with your thumb in and out. It's not a twist or anything like that. Now for the steering wheel controls, you do have very few buttons this time. So everything's gonna be kind of a touch versus an actual button, which is really nice, but you still have the toggles where you can flip through each menu, go through your presets. You can go through the actual menu of the cluster display that's gonna be placed right behind the steering wheel. So as you're gonna see, one of the things that stands out in the Ioniq is the actual spacing of the car. The car is totally flat. Even front and back, which is kind of unusual. You don't have too much space blocking you from the cup holders to the USB, and that's kind of what we're going to go over right now. So right under your air conditioning unit and kind of towards the front of the car, you're going to have your USB section where you can go ahead and use your CarPlay system, and you also have another 12-volt charger there. You do have a little smaller compartment too where you can store just, you know, any of your items that can fit there. Now you're gonna have a little bit of space in between, and then we're gonna head over to the center console. Center console is stable, so the Limited will actually be able to move this forward and back, but this model, which is the SEL, and the basic model, which is the SE, is just pretty much stationary. So you do have two cup holders. Now in the inside of that, towards the back, you're gonna have two more USB plugs, and that's gonna be charging only. And you'll be able to notice that with the charging only symbol placed underneath them. You will have the wireless charging pad underneath all that. So if you have one of your devices that's capable for wireless charging, you can go ahead and place that there. Then you have a smaller section underneath where you can store a bag or a purse or, you know, your food or beverages. You also have a nice grip to the matting as well. Then you have your armrest, which does slide up and slide down. Pretty good angle to get all that stuff from the bottom of it. And then of course you have the interior of the armrest where you can store change or pens or, you know, some business cards, things like that. All right, so right in front of the passenger seat, you do have the glove box. Now I'm going over this because it is slightly different from Hyundai's previous cars. Totally different, actually. So you do, right when you open it, you do have kind of like a sleeve that you can put stuff in as far as registration or any booklets that you want to keep carrying. And when you fold that back up, it'll be placed in that folder. And, you know, once we show you the video, you'll be able to see kind of what I'm talking about. But also it's a lot deeper than Hyundai's previous models, so you're able to probably store a little bit more stuff. You are still able to lock it and make sure all that stuff's protected, but definitely just wanted to give that a little overview that Hyundai's does have a new glove box. All right, everyone, so we are going to show you how to set up your Bluetooth on the Ioniq 5. So this is going to go both ways for Apple and Android phones. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to phone, and automatically we have the Ioniq 5. And all we gotta do is connect this. So you're gonna tap the Ioniq 5, make sure the numbers match. We're gonna go to pair. We're gonna allow for the contacts to sync. And there we are. So iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's just gonna download the contacts. And then after that, you're gonna be good to go. You'll be able to do your phone calls and your music. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna show you how to either delete or add a new phone onto the Bluetooth. So we were on the first menu. Now we're gonna go on to the numbers menu here. You do have your settings gear. You're gonna tap that. You're gonna go to device connections. And then you see my phone is still connected, perfect. So now if you wanna add a new one, you can add it. And same thing, just go to your settings, wait for the Ioniq 5 icon to pop up on your phone, and then just click and add. Now what we're gonna do, very simple, is just gonna delete it. So we're just gonna mark all, or you could do it individually. Delete, say yes, it's gonna clear all the contacts and everything. And that's it. Now we're back at the beginning, we can add a device. So on this menu here, you're gonna see kind of like a headset and also your music. Now the headset is just meaning that you're able to talk, so via receive calls or make calls. And then the music means that you're able to play any of your music icons or apps that you have on your phone. You know, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify. So that's just letting you know that you have both available and there's no error codes or anything like that. So you're good to go. Okay, everyone, so now I'm going to connect it to the CarPlay, and it's going to be the same instructions for Android or for Apple. So all you're going to do is get your cord, you're going to plug it down here in the bottom section. Now you're going to plug that into your phone. Usually you're going to have to unlock your phone, meaning actually open it, and then we're going to press allow on our phone, and then we're going to press next here on the screen. Everything's good. So Siri is the phone settings. Apple CarPlay works best when you, of course, do the latest version, have the good signal strength, and have an approved cord. This is very important because there are some cheaper cords out there that may or may not allow you to do the CarPlay, and we've run across that multiple times with some of our customers. So just get a good name brand cord and everything will be fine. Then we're going to press OK. Now, if you were kind of looking at this background screen, you're going to see that it's added an extra icon, and that's going to open up the Apple CarPlay. So you're going to tap that, and you're going to have pretty much everything that you would see on your phone here. Now, with this newer update to Hyundai's screen, it's actually done the CarPlay all full screen now. So if you have an older model and you're kind of wondering, hey, why isn't mine look like that? It's just because this is a more updated screen for 2022, but it's all the same options as any other Apple CarPlay would be. So no other Apple CarPlay looks different, no other Android Auto looks different, so everything is going to be the same. Okay, everyone, so now we're back to our home screen, and I'm going to be going over the nav system menu. Now you do have two options to get there. So you either have the buttons here, map and nav, or if you want to open up the screen, you can do map and the navigation here. So what we're going to do first, we're going to open up the maps. So this is still Hyundai's newest map system. Yes, they have done some better updates to it. And if you can kind of see, there's already some icons on the actual map where it'll show Best Buy. And if you look over here to the corner, it's going to show a little charging station. Now, if I move this up a little bit, you're going to be able to see our Hyundai dealership here. And you can actually touch these icons and the nav system will automatically find the address there. And if you are connected with Bluetooth or the CarPlay, you're able to call that establishment as well. So if we click on the Best Buy, it'll show the address and the phone number, and then you're able to call. Now with these icons, you do have some other options down here too. So you can set it as a destination and it'll start calculating the route. You can actually save this and it'll export to the address book, and I'll show you where that goes. Or you can open up more POI categories, point of interest. So if you tap here, you're gonna have all these available point of interest that you can search, and it's gonna search according to where your vehicle is. And it's gonna show you where the nearest ones are. It'll show you how many are available as far as charging stations or pharmacies and ATMs are gonna be there. And if we push back, it's just gonna go back to what we had located on. You do have a zoom in and zoom out here. So you can zoom out, you'll be able to see a lot more popping up on the screen. So you have real-time accidents and traffic. So you have a freeway closed here and either an entrance or an exit. Now, if we go to the nav menu, this is where you're going to be able to actually input addresses that aren't found on the actual map. So if you go to places, since it's an updated version, you can actually just type in, like it says here, Starbucks/fast food. You can enter in the address, or if you actually have the coordinates, you can actually enter those in too. So let's just do Starbucks like it shows, and popped up. And now it's going to do as far as best option, but it's also going to do it by the how far it is from us as well, from your location in the car. So if you're going to be going to an area, you can see them, and you can scroll, and it will literally just keep showing you a bunch of options, and it looks like it stops at 7 miles. So you're going to have all that there. Let me just go back. So if you have POI categories, it's the same as what we saw, where it'll show you the gas stations, ATM machines, pharmacies, everything through there. Saved places, so like I did reference back, if you wanted to save the address for Best Buy, it's going to actually end up in here. For Hyundai, you do have all the Hyundai dealerships that are going to be around you. Now, these ones that aren't highlighted, they're not highlighted because we're actually not en route to a location, or this one, we haven't even had the nav system go to a location, so it's not going to be any previous destinations for us. But when you are en route, you can cancel it, you can look at the overview, you can edit the route, and you can go through route options, so you can eliminate freeways or toll roads, things like that. Down here, you still have your traditional 5 favorite spots, so you can enter your home, your work, and 3 other favorites. Now, if we tap here, you're going to be going to places, or if you want to do it by the map, but I think it's going to be the easiest if it's your home to actually just type in your address, everything. So you're going to do your number, the street name, and then you're going to do the zip code. And when you start doing that, you're going to start seeing everything kind of minimized here. So we're going to just do the dealership. If we just do that, it'll pop up industry, California, same zip code, 500 feet away. So now you would do is tap that, you press done, and it's added to the favorites. Okay, so we did save our home. Now, if these ever change, or let's say you're returning your lease, trading in your car, you're selling the vehicle and you want to wipe everything, all you gotta do is press on the icon, hold really quickly. So you can either change the address, you're going to delete it, or you can close this menu. So what we're going to do is we're going to do delete, and it's deleted, no prompt if you want to. So you got to make sure that you are wanting to delete that if you want to delete it. And we're good to go. But what I'm going to go over next is all the settings for the nav system. So we're going to tap here. Now you're going to be able to do display size, the font size for the map, POI display, vehicle symbol color, auto map, auto scale. So you can go through these and kind of customize everything for your liking. Everything that you see that I've done is already defaulted with Hyundai. So now if we go to display, you can do the information, return to map, timing off. So that means if you want to go back to the nav system after so many seconds or minutes, it'll do that automatically. Now for your guidance, you're going to show the distance. You have the voice guidance. You can control the volume, border crossing information. So if you are going into a different state or possibly country, it'll show that on there. You have alerts, camera alert distance, and then you have others. So you're going to do previous destination settings, user data, and GPS information. So if you go into these menus, these are actually kind of cool. You're actually able to export or import saved / previous destinations from a USB device. Now it does say compatible vehicles. Now that could be another Ioniq or another vehicle that has like the same software that Hyundai's been using, and you're able to actually share and either export your destinations and put it into a different vehicle, which is actually really cool. So those are your navigation system settings. Everything is user friendly, but like I mentioned before, everything is defaulted for you. So if you like the way everything is, you can definitely just leave it like that. Or if you want to get in here and just kind of see the differences, you have that option too. Okay, everyone. So now that we are done with the navigation, we are going to go into the actual setup gear, and we're going to be going over all the sound options. So setup, sound. Now you're gonna have everything here as far as position, tone, and even the CarPlay settings. So premium sound, I just want to make sure that everyone's aware the SCL does not have the upgraded sound system. That will be only available on the Limited, but you do have some settings here for that. So speed dependent volume, it's already on moderate change, meaning usually when you go faster, the volume will raise automatically. So you can go into that and change it to however you want. Startup volume limit, so if you're actually left the volume extremely high, when you turn on the car, it'll actually lower that for you automatically. Now position, these are all just your traditional faders, left, right, front and back, and you can go ahead and position that however you want. Tone, same thing, treble, mid-range, and bass. Now guidance, this is going to be particularly for the navigation. So you have it for during calls, what you want it as a priority, and then you can either mute the guidance as well. Now, if we scroll down a little bit more, we're gonna go to radio noise. So this will kind of help out reduce some of the background noise. So right now, Hyundai has had it set on minimum noise reduction. Now, playing with this car and kind of going through all the features and especially the radio, it actually sounds quite nice with the minimum noise reduction that they've allowed. You can just go back to the original sound if you want. So just go ahead and choose for your preference. Driver assistance. This is going to be mainly part of with your safety features. So lowers the audio volume when driving when a system sounds a warning. So that could be either your forward collision warning, your blind spot, your possible lane assist. It might just lower the volume quite a bit, just so you can hear that. Now, parking safety priority. So if you are going in reverse, the car will automatically lower the volume for you. So this is already set off by Hyundai. If you prefer that, you know, you can concentrate a little bit better when you're going in reverse with not as loud music. You can go ahead and tap that. Connected devices. So for Android or for CarPlay, doesn't matter which one we're choosing, but I chose the Apple one. So now you have everything for media, phone, the ringtone, nav, and the voice recognition. So just showing you pretty much what the volume would be like or what you want it to be like when you go into that icon or when you're making a phone call. You can already set that volume to however you want it to go. So now if we go back, that's pretty much it. Now you have been hearing this beep, and we're just gonna go over that really quick. You can actually turn the beep off, and there it is. So every time we enter in a menu, there's no beeps. Now if you push that again, beep. So however you wanna do that. If the beeps are too annoying, then you can go ahead and turn that off. And that is everything for the sound system. All right, so something that's newer for these Hyundai systems, especially with the Ioniq 5, is going to be a screen theme / layout. So if we tap here, you're going to be able to kind of change this like your phone nowadays. You have a dark mode and then like a day mode. So if you like this white background, you can do it here. You can do the black, and that'll be a lot darker. Now, once you just change that, I'm not sure if you can see, but it also changes the cluster to the black as well. Or you can schedule the time. So if you want, you know, so displays a black theme during the time set. So if you want it to go on right when the sun goes down, you know, just depending on what time that is for you, you can do it like that until what time the sun rises or whatever other time you want to stay on black. Now, you can go to screensaver. Now, these ones you're gonna be able to only allow these when you turn the display off. Meaning, if I tap this button, when this displays off, it's going to show either this digital clock or you have an analog clock, but I believe that they have different styles. Yes, they do. So you should have 8 styles of which analog clock that you may want to see. And this one's pretty nice. So let's go here, display off. Now, if you are listening to the radio, you do have the nav system going. All that stuff will still be, if you have the voice on for the Navi, it'll still tell you when you need to turn. The radio will still be able to play, but you're just mainly minimizing all the other icons from here, and you're just having this display. Now, if we go to split screen, so split screen we will get into, and I will show you example right when I go over all these little icons. So some of them are shadowed, that means they're automatic, but you have electric vehicle, weather, calendar, compass, and clock. So let's just keep all that on. And what I mean is, let's just go back to the maps really quick. You do have on this corner, this side, you have a little arrow. So what you can do is you can actually tap that and it'll pop open. So you have your CarPlay or your music, whatever was connected, and you can go up or down, doesn't matter. So if you go up, it'll show more of the nav, okay? It'll show the energy information, so how much range, battery, and nearby stations. And of course, you can search the stations. Then you have your clock again. You have your compass. You have your calendar, so if it's permitted. And then your weather, not available at the moment. And then back to the CarPlay. So if we go back to the settings, to screen and theme layout, split screen, you can check mark some of these if you don't want them. So let's say that wasn't active right now, calendar's not active, clock, compass. It'll only show these four: electric, map, radio, and the clock for you. And that's what the split screen does. All right, next we're moving on to this quiet mode. It's gotten a new icon from its previous systems. Now we do have some videos on this, but since it's Ioniq 5, we're gonna go over it one more time. Now this is essentially just going to shut off the noise from the speakers in the second row and just play through the front row. So all you gotta do is pop this open. Now we're back onto our split screen. So if you don't want this at the moment, you can just close it. And all you gotta do is tap the quiet mode, and that's going to adjust all the volumes for you. So all volume levels above 25 will be decreased to 25 automatically. Okay, so if you're at a 40 volume, it's gonna play just to 25, and it's only gonna be for the front seats. So it's gonna go ahead and take everything off from the back. Okay, so now we're gonna be heading into our AC and our warmer settings. So you do have your climate. You're gonna be able to open that. Now you're gonna have some settings here on the side, but all your controls are gonna be here. So it's kind of like a 3D version. You're gonna see where the air is coming out of in these blue little streaks. Now you do have it on sync already. Okay, so all you gotta do is either tap the driver's side, and anything I do, that will do. So it is still dual temperature. So once I move the passenger down, it's gonna deactivate the sync, and the passenger can get however cold that they want to if I'm just at 71. So you still do have the drivers only, which is available on our hybrids, plugins, and electrics. So it's going to shut off all the air from the passenger side, and it's just going to go through the driver's side. You do have your fan powers, and you can kind of tap to see which ones you want, which are always fun. Or you can just go here and just keep tapping it. And then you do have an off button too. So I'm gonna just lower that because of the noise. You do have your auto, and Hyundai introduced their 3 levels for the auto. So they do have medium, they have the low, and then of course they have the high. So that is a newer feature that Hyundai brought out, and that'll just adjust the fan power depending on how hot it is. Your AC still here, off and on. And then you do have your modes. So where you're gonna position all the air that's going to you. Now, if you hit front warmer, that is going to bring up the heated stuff, so the heated seats, and it's going to have the heated steering wheel. Okay, so now we're going to go over to front warmer here. Front warmer is going to have all your options for the heated stuff. So you have your heated seats, and you're going to have your heated steering wheel. This one does not have a sync, so you just got to do it by however high you want it. So they still only go up to level 3, okay? So it's always going to start on level 3, just like all of Hyundai's cars, and then you're just going to decrease from there, okay? Then you have your heated steering wheel button, and then if you have the heated feature on, you can just tap off, and if you saw the driver's side, it was at off already, so that it wasn't highlighted, okay? And then you can still see all your other information here as far as what your air conditioning is doing or your heating for the temperature. So we're just going to go back. Now what we're going to do is climate settings on the side here. So activate upon washer fluid use. So when you're cleaning your windshields, it's actually going to set some of the either defroster or some of the air in here to kind of just make sure that there's no streaks or no fog coming from the inside of the vehicle. Recirculation mode plus, so as far as the air getting recirculated inside the vehicle, you can turn that off if you want to. Auto dehumidifier, and then you have your smart ventilation. So pretty much the air is going to be coming in and or possibly out, and it's going to release the air automatically. So instead of having your ventilation in some of your traditional cars keeping inside the vehicle, and you can push it and then you can have it coming from the outside, this will automatically do all that for you. What I'm going to go over next is all the same stuff, but just down on this lower level, which you can still do. So you don't have to do everything on the screen. You have all your functions that we just went over besides the heated stuff, as far as the heated steering wheel and the heated seats, is all still going to be down here. So it's still dual temperature, okay? You have your position here, which you can change from here, and that'll just show on the driver's side, so just be wary of that. You have your temperature up and down still. you're gonna have your fan powers. Now this looked a little confusing at first, but you can still increase it. Now if you tap this one, it's not gonna turn the air conditioning off, but it will if you go all the way below 1, and that'll go ahead and automatically turn that off. You still have your front defroster and your rear defroster, so these have been used in so many years now. And you have your ventilation, your air circulation there, okay? Now, to get to this menu, you don't have to use this screen. So let's say we went back home. You can just hit climate, and it'll pop everything that we just saw. Or you hit warmer, and it'll do everything as far as the heated steering wheel and the heated seats. So before we begin to move over to our next segment, we are going to be chopping these videos up and have their own individual videos. But we're gonna get into right now is going to be the ambient lighting. So we're gonna go to the setup, we're gonna go to vehicle, now we're gonna scroll down a bit to lights, and then we're gonna be here at ambient lighting. The brightness should always automatically be at 10, so you're good there. Color, and then dimmed and dark. So this is the kind of a little bit newer stuff. So dim during the nighttime driving conditions. So that's not too bright where it's going to distract you. You can turn it off if you can drive when it's not too bright. It's not extremely bright, but Hyundai just gives you that option. And then mood lighting changes color according to the selected drive mode. So depending on what drive mode you're in, and we'll go over that later on, it'll automatically change to that too. But what we're going to do is we're going to hit color. Of course, we have our default colors. We have the white color, moon white, sorry, and everything else in between. Or we have our color wheel here. 64 colors that you can choose from. You can either kind of move it slowly around, or you can individually just touch and see what shade you want. All right, everyone, so now we're going to be going to our EV icon. Now, if you've had either an Ioniq electric or a Kona electric, this is a very similar icon that you're used to, but it's going to look different. So same, but different. So we're going to tap here. You're going to be able to see your vehicle here, the percentage it's on, where the nearest charger is to you, and it's still going to show you with the air conditioning on how much range you're going to get, and then over here you're going to see how much range you get with it off. Now you still do have your scheduled charging times that you can do via your BlueLink app. Now you're wondering, oh, where's that menu of where to see how long it's going to take for my car to charge? So all you got to do is just tap on the car, and it's going to be able to show you all that information. So with this newer Ioniq, it does have the capability to do the 800 volts charging. And that actually, it's about the same right now because it's around 96%. So 400 and 800 are actually the same, but you'll see a bigger impact when the vehicle is less on the charge. And what I just did right there is you can actually move this meter, does it by 10%, of how much you want the car to charge. So if you don't want to charge the car fully, and let's say you just want a certain percentage, you can do that. And you can also do it with just the regular AC ones as well. So you still have all available chargers, level 1, level 2, level 3, and the newest level 4. You still see the two differences of on and off for the air conditioning, and you can just go ahead and customize what you want to do as far as how much charge you want the car to have every time. So we have the settings gear here. Same thing, how much you want the car to charge up to, and you can change the different percentages. Charging current, okay, so this one's already defaulted from Hyundai on the maximum. So you want the max current to be able to charge the vehicle. You can have it reduced or minimum, and that'll just take a little bit longer, just depending on if you're doing level 1, 2, 3, however you want this car to be able to charge. Winter mode, it's already going to have so pretty much it's going to have a kind of like a warmer system in the vehicle where it's going to keep the battery warm, but since it is going to be in colder degrees, it may affect more of the range. Okay, so now we go to the last menu, which is going to be the utility mode. So what's going to happen here is you're going to be able to charge things in the vehicle. So as far as your phones, you can use the 12 volts, you can use some adapters, Or if you're going to be camping, for instance, or if you're going to be somewhere for a long period of time, you can activate this utility mode. Okay, so what the utility mode is going to do is that it's going to use different power to actually power these things on without affecting much of the range in the vehicle. Okay, everyone, so now we're going to be going over the smart trunk. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to setup, we're going to go to vehicle, we're going to go down to door, and then, that was quick, and then we're going to go to the smart liftgate. So as I mentioned before, we're doing this video on the SEL model, which is the first model in the Ioniq line that offers the power liftgate. If you're shopping for the SE model, you won't have this feature, SEL and above. So you activate the smart liftgate. So pretty much what happens is when the car is locked and you've moved away from the car for about 15 seconds and you come back to the car, if you go behind it with the key on you, the lights will flash and it'll pop open the liftgate for you. Also, you can actually change the liftgate speed. So you can have it on fast or slow or normal. And then if you want to do a full open or a half open, and you know, that just depends on if you're parking this in a garage or somewhere where the height is not elevated enough. So that's everything you got to do to activate the smart liftgate. Most of all the Hyundais, if not 100% of them, are going to have this defaulted to off. Because yes, if you are just behind the vehicle and let's say you're talking or looking at your phone, it's going to sense the key, lights will flash and it'll pop open. So usually Hyundai leaves that turned off for you. All right, everyone, so now we're kind of done with the screen for just this moment. We're going to be going down here to the parking sensors. So as you can kind of see, this little square, there's no light on it, or it's not turned on. That's because the parking sensors are actually off at the moment. Now, if we just push the button in, light will turn on, parking sensors automatically are turned on, and they're going to start sensing if you're getting close to an object or either reversing back into an object. So I'm just going to put the car in drive right now because we are facing a wall. So hopefully you guys hear kind of the beeps that it's going to make when I put it in drive. So that's pretty fast. That means we're pretty close to the vehicle. If we were to get closer, you would just hear like a long beep, meaning that you're probably inches away from actually hitting or tapping an object. It will work in the reverse as well. So if we do the reversing here, you actually see the parking sensors either front or the back, like I said, just depending on what's happening. So if you're reversing, of course, you're going to see more in the back, and you're actually going to be able to see the angle of which the parking sensors are hitting or they're sensing. As you are in the camera, we can see here, this does show still a little bit of the bumper, which I really enjoyed from Hyundai. So they still give you that kind of clearance of how actually close you're getting to an object. So that'll be in these little corners here. You do have some options here for the camera. So if you tap this button here, you're going to be able to see a down view. So pretty much looking straight down like a bird's eye. If we were to tap the other one, that's just going to default back to just the kind of the widescreen. You do have a settings here. So you do have some options. So you rear view parking guidance. So that's already set, meaning that the camera's going to pop on. Display options. We have brightness for daylight, brightness at night, and some contrast. So you can kind of go through these if you want. Hyundai's already done everything neutral. So if you live in a certain area where it's either too bright or too dark, you can actually adjust everything to help you when you're reversing out of your spot. Now, what we're going to be doing is showing you putting this car back in park. You can actually have the camera pop on for you at any moment, even in park. So if you hit this P button here, it's going to be able to show you everything that we just saw, just in case you want to check if there was anything behind you or if something, were obstructing your view. You can go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, everyone, so now I'm going to be using our star menu, favorites menu, our hot button, whatever you want to call it. You'll have it on the steering wheel on the left side and also here in the front. So we're going to tap here. It's going to open up the settings for us. So custom button star. So when you're tapping here, you can actually have one of these menus pop up. So like I said, like your favorite menu. So let's say you want to just see your EV information. Okay, so let's go home. And we're going to hit the button. It's going to pop up. Now, you may be asking, well, why do I want to do that? Because if you're here on this menu, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to do two things: slide, then tap. Now with just the function here with the star, all you gotta do is one tap and it pops open for you. So you can go ahead and customize that however you want. Now we're gonna be able to do our steering wheel favorites and also our mode. All right, so now if we hit this button, it's gonna just pop up that EV menu again, but we still have other two things that we can set. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go back to setup, and then we're gonna go back to where it says button. So now we do have our custom buttons already set to the EV. Now we do have our steering wheel button, and that's where the star is gonna be located. So now, same thing. If you want a quick menu to pop up, or you want something to happen, let's say you get a call, you can automatically just press the star and that'll hang up the call. You can change the hand-free calling. You can have a privacy mode where it won't display contacts, call history, favorites, and messages. You can have your voice memos pop up, reroute, cancel route, quiet mode, or you can just have it selected at none. Now we do have the mode button. So this is pretty much what's gonna happen, kind of like top to down. So let's say when you hit the mode, you want it to go from your FM, and then to your phone projection, and then, you know, to your Sirius XM, and then your sound. So everything's just gonna go top down. So when we hit the mode, it'll pop up. So XM, CarPlay, sounds of nature, FM, XM, and it's gonna continuously keep going. Okay, everyone, we've moved from our multimedia screen over to the cluster display. So now I'm just going to be going over everything that you kind of see here. So what we're first going to do is we're going to use our folder menu. If you've been a previous customer of Hyundai's, the folder menu is in the same location. It's on the right side of the steering wheel. It's the left button. So all we're going to do is we're going to change the menu. You're going to be able to see kind of our driving trip meter. You can use the arrows right underneath the folder menu to go down. Hit the folder menu, we're gonna go back to the nav system. So we are still en route to Best Buy, I believe. So it's showing us once we exit the dealership where we're gonna be able to go and how long it's gonna take and what time we're gonna be there. If we go to the information, since this is the all-wheel drive, this will independently show you how much force or traction the wheels are using. And if we go down, it'll also show the tire pressures. Now we're gonna go back to the front menu, which is just gonna be this menu here showing your how fast you're going. It's gonna show your range, and it's gonna be showing you on the left and right panels. For instance, if you're gonna be on the right side and you're using more force, it's kind of like your RPMs where you're gonna see a lot of force going over on this right-hand side here, and it'll fill up depending on how fast you're going. Then on the left, that's just going to be showing your speed, of course, as well, of where you're going to be at 20 miles, 30 miles, and that'll start filling up on the left side too. All right, everyone, so now we're in tuned with the steering wheel. So I'm going to be going over the controls for the left and the right side. So first, we're going to be doing your voice recognition, or if you're plugged into one of your CarPlays, it's going to be using OK Google or Siri. Next, you're going to have your mode, and you can actually customize this with the favorites button in the panel here that we went over in one of our previous videos. And then we're going to have your favorites button down here as well. You can also customize this with the favorites button on the panel, and you're going to be able to do the quiet mode. You can set to decline calls that are coming in, different variations of that. You still do have your answer button here. If we move up, you're going to have your toggle. That's still going to be used for the volume up and down, and if you push in, that'll mute the sound that's coming out. And if we go over to the right, this is just going to be used for your playlist or for your next track. So if we move over to the right hand side, if you have a Hyundai in the past, then this is going to look very familiar for you. If not, then just go ahead and listen up. First, we're going to be going over the folder menu, and we had just done this with our cluster video. So if you go ahead and take a look at that one, you'll see what this does, but pretty much you're going to be switching the menus in the front. We do have your cruise control button still. you're still going to be able to toggle with the right hand side to set the cruise control. You can reset it by pushing up. You can lower and heighten the speed. Underneath, you're going to be using the parking sensor leveler, so that's going to be able to use depending on how close you want to approach a vehicle when the car actually starts to slow down, and you'll be able to see that in the cluster as well. The one that's newest is going to be on the bottom left, and that's going to be your lane follow assist. That goes hand in hand with the smart cruise control, and it's going to help you better driving while you're on freeways. So it's going to be able to stay in the lines better. It's going to be able to follow the car in front of you a lot better. So you can push this on and off and kind of take it as it is and see what you guys think about that. Up top here, we have the little arrows, and you have another button that can push in for OK or to like enter a menu. And that's going to be primarily used with the folded menu. And when you see the different screens, you can go up and down. Sometimes you have to actually enter something in order to change it. And then last but not least, we do have one other button. It's kind of part of the steering wheel, and then we'll go over it after as well. But you do have the drive modes. And that one, you can do the smart, you could do the snow, you could do the eco and the normal. All right, so now we're gonna be talking about the drive modes. So you're gonna have 4 different drive modes. Now you're gonna have your 4th one available only on the all-wheel drive systems for the Ioniq 5, and that drive mode is actually only available on other Hyundais when they have all-wheel drive. So the first mode that we're gonna have for the Ioniq 5 is gonna be the eco mode. So when you're actually enabled in the eco mode, it's actually gonna lower a little bit of the horsepower, but you're gonna be able to produce better range and better MPG as a sense, yeah. And then when you go into normal, that's going to be the regular horsepower. It's not going to lower anything, and it's just going to be your typical regular driving. You do have the sport mode, which is kind of the opposite of eco. So you're going to be using more power, okay, more force, but then depending on how long you're driving in that drive mode, it's going to probably decrease your range as well. Now the 4th one that they offer is going to be the snow mode. So that's going to be available for only the all-wheel drive systems, like I said, and that's going to go ahead and adjust the power, but also the traction too for the wheels as well. All right, everyone, so with the drive modes that you have, the eco, the snow, and the sport, you do actually have a little bit of settings that you can actually apply for the drive mode. Not necessarily that's going to correspond with the drive modes, but you're going to be able to go to vehicle here, drive mode, and you're going to have your brake mode. So with the brake mode, so you're going to have a normal and a sports. Now, when you change your drive modes, none of this is going to change unless you automatically do it yourself. So you have normal, which is Hyundai's default, optimized for balanced comfort. Or if you're to sport, it's going to be optimized for dynamic driving. So all you got to do is just tap the other one, and then it'll just go ahead and switch. So if you've been driving the car for a little bit already, or if you want to come in and obviously test drive it, make sure you always mention that you want to try either or. Now the other one that we have is the climate control eco mode. So if we hit that, so you actually can increase the range of travel by reducing cooling and heating power of the climate control. So pretty much it's gonna reduce a lot of the power that comes out of the heating and the cooling, and you're gonna be able to increase the range with all of that when it's defaulted on, okay? So if you do it like that, you're gonna be able to get better range out of the car if you're using the heating and the cooling system. All right, so we're just gonna go over this vehicle settings a bit. So we have the vehicle menu. Now, driver assistance, it's gonna be everything as far as your safety stuff. So you can do speed limit, warning timer, volume warning, everything that has to do with your safety, your lane assist, your blind spot, your adaptive cruise control, your lane assist is all gonna be in here. Everything that comes with here is going to be defaulted from Hyundai's, so everything that you're going to be tapping into is already based on Hyundai's default, but you can go ahead and change that to whatever your likings you prefer. Drive mode, we do have your brake mode that you can also change into a sport, and you do have your climate control eco mode, so pretty much where it'll use less cooling and heating power, and it'll give you better range. Eco vehicle, so smart regeneration system, so pretty much how much deceleration that the car will do. Charging connector locking mode, yes, you want that on, so while charging, so nobody takes out your charger. Charging voice prompts medium, so if anything about your charging, the voice prompts will come on. If you want that a little quicker, you can go ahead and put faster. Cluster, this is everything that you can do to the left side, pretty much behind the steering wheel. So you have your illumination, you can set the theme, your service interval, and reset fuel economy. So usually after you're done charging, it'll go ahead and reset. Content selection, so pretty much everything that you can see on the screen. And if you want, you can check mark this and it'll give you a welcome sound once you get inside the vehicle. You do have climate here. So you have your recirculate air, automatic ventilation, defog, defrost options, climate features. If we go over to one underneath, that's the lights. We did do a quick video on this for the ambient lighting, but we also have some other options. So one touch turning signal, it's set to 3 flashes. You can do 5 or 7, meaning instead of pushing down the turn signal all the way, you can just give it a light tap and then it'll go ahead and do the turn signals. And headlight delay. I like how Hyundai kind of gives an explanation of everything now. So pretty much the light's going to stay on 15 seconds after you leave the car with the ignition turned off and the doors closed. So after 50 seconds, they'll turn off. High beam assist, it reduces the high beam glare, which affects drivers on incoming vehicles. Now we're gonna go down to the door. So you do have an auto lock, and that's based on speed. So you can actually go in there and change it as well. Auto unlock, enable at vehicle off. So when you turn off the car, the doors will unlock. Approach unlock, and we are going to be doing a video on the proximity key and like the door handles. So approach unlock, door handles will rise and unlock when smart key is nearby. Usually I think it's about 5 feet or so, it'll start noticing that. Press 2 to unlock. So on your key you got to press unlock twice to unlock all the doors. If you uncheck mark it, all you got to do is press it once. Power liftgate's already active. We do have the liftgate opening speed to fast, height to full open. We did do a video on the smart liftgate already, so you got to check mark it if you want it active, and then the remote window control. So enable/disables the remote window control function, okay? If we go down one more, so the last one is convenience. So rear occupant alert, if we give it a little read, if a rear door is open or closed, the driver is reminded to check the rear seats for passengers or items before leaving the vehicle. You have a welcome mirror, so that's going to also be when the mirrors open and close. And then you have your wireless charging system that's already programmed to be on, and you can go ahead and check mark that off if you need to. All right, everyone. So I'm going to show you how the keyless entry works. So the key's outside. You're going to go ahead, approach the vehicle. Doors are going to open. Windows are going to open up as well. Now we're just going to grab and get inside. All right, so now once you're out of the vehicle, you're just gonna go ahead and shut the door. There's a little groove imprinted here, like a little square. You're just gonna tap that. That's gonna close. Mirrors are gonna fold in. Car's locked. You can walk away. All right, everyone, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you how the smart trunk works. I'm gonna go ahead and approach the vehicle with the key. Tail lights are gonna flash. Trunk's gonna open up. And once you grab all your stuff out of there, all you gotta do, push, and then it's gonna go ahead and close. Hey everyone, so I'm going to be going over what the new iPedal is for Hyundai's Ioniq 5. So after testing it out by myself and doing a little bit of information, so Hyundai's new iPedal is going to be your one regenerative braking that's actually going to come to a complete stop when you're using it. So you got to be on the level 3 first for the regenerative, and on your paddle shifter you're going to press the increase one more time and it'll display iPedal on the display, and that will actually have the car come to a complete stop, and then you'll be able to start driving once again if you step on the gas pedal. Now it's a little bit different than just your level 1, 2, and 3. Those will usually go down to about 2 miles per hour, but then you got to come to a complete stop. The iPedal is pretty much your new one wheel driving or one pedal driving. So with the iPedal, Hyundai does have a new auto feature for the regenerative braking, and the auto is going to be very similar to like your level 1, 2, and 3. So it's not exactly the same as the iPedal. What's going to happen is the car is going to actually decelerate depending on your driving conditions as far as the terrain or the road, and it's also going to slow down as well if you're approaching another vehicle or from distance in front of you as well, and then that'll go down to about 2 miles per hour as well.